how's it going?
Good.
Hail Biggs. Look at that. We already got somebody in the chat.
I was just going to ask, is there anybody in the chat?
Yeah, Mo's our first one. So, hail Mo.
I was just going to ask, is there anybody in the chat? Oh, I better take my YouTube off.
Oh, you got
Yeah, just to see the chat myself.
There.
But yeah, that would have been a real nice echo going on there if I kept that up. So
right.
So
okay, what do we got today?
Oh, well, as you can see in the title, I think anytime there's an American holiday, we'll probably try to do some focus on it. So, we just had the 4th 2 days ago. So we're going to talk all about freedom and fireworks. And so before we get into all that, we'll have a small update on our comic. Currently, we're working on our first cover. Derek, you want to show them how far it is? It's getting along there. Or just give a 10%, like a little bit, and then.
Okay, maybe I'll flash it real quick.
No, wait, whoa, what are you doing? Wait, what are you flashing?
I'm just going to move it across the screen. How about real fast? Just the picture, Kevin. Just the picture. We're gonna flash it through.
Oh, you can't see it at all.
Oh man,
I still couldn't.
I guess you'll have to pause the video for that. You have to pause the video.
We're gonna lose. People are just gonna jump right off the stream now.
I don't want to give it away too much because it is. I'm very proud of it.
Show northeast or northwest. Just show 25% of it.
Okay, what about that?
We'll higher because Mo's thing is a little bit higher.
Here,
a little bit.
Is that good? Does that show enough?
A little bit more. Just a little bit more. Okay, let's leave it at that. Leave it at that.
Man, that's like half the pick.
Well, I
might as well
didn't
show it all.
Half. You just kept going. Now it's off the hinges.
There like that. It's all there.
Man. Do you want to tell people what the influence is?
Well, I hope they figure it out. I mean, I hope some people know what it is. I don't know. Maybe they won't. But if you're a fan of Mike Zeck, that cover is a Mike Zeck cover and a very famous Mike Zeck cover. So Mo Big says looks great. Thanks, Mo. Yeah, that is a throwback to the 80s of Wolverine versus Cap. It's a Captain America comic book. Wolverine's coming down with his claws and hitting Cap in the shield. Sparks are flying, and the rest is history.
So as of right now, that's going to be our main cover, but that can always change because we'll probably have a couple covers. But
might be the secondary cover. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it could end up being variant. I mean,
Mo said he found it.
He found it because you told him, or did he already know what it was?
I don't know. Probably looking up Cap and everything. So he put it in the chat. Cool. Yeah. So anyway, that's coming everybody's way. I have to ink that yet. That is just a digital pencil version for now. I'm going to ink that.
Yeah. So again, we're getting really close. We're really on like the last 10% of getting everything done. So I mean, that doesn't mean it's going to be done tomorrow, but this year, probably third quarter of the year and third quarter maybe, or the beginning of the fourth quarter,
right?
Ish. So
hello, Amanda. How are you? Nice of you to join us. And Mo says came out really good, man.
Yeah, I really like that cover.
Joseph Murphy says cover looks great.
I know, and you were asking me for cover ideas. I gave you like 25, like some I made up, some that I could think of, and then you went totally out of nothing I gave you. Like it just went.
That's what made it work, obviously.
You knew what you didn't want to do.
That's exactly right.
All the references.
You give me the best ideas of what not to do. So
it's like George Costanza. Whatever I tell you to do, just do the opposite. It's going to be successful.
It's working so far. No, but the truth is, that is one of my favorite covers. I have another Mike Zeck cover that I really want to pay homage to, like maybe down the line, but we're not there yet. And so I'm going to let that kind of go. And I'm going to save that for something real special. I think you
I
know.
don't even know what you're talking about. I'm trying.
Yeah, you do. The Doom cover.
Oh.
So yeah, that's one of my favorite cover of all time. So
you're right though. That's kind of tough to do. You can't, because there's a lot of emotion in that, so you can't just have it like as a regular old. Something's got to happen to make something.
Yeah, and go. I want it to matter. So when I do it, I want it to matter. And just like with this cover, I was able to do the homage, but yet it still ties into the story. We're not going to do a cover and not have it be a part of the story. I don't like that about the old comic books. I like exciting covers, but back in the day, they would give you a cover and it wouldn't even happen in the story. They'd put a villain on the cover and you wouldn't even see him, but like a panel or something. So I'm like, don't want to go down that road. I actually want to promote what we are telling in the story. And I think that makes it more exciting. So there we go.
And so just sticking with our comic to kind of keep on the theme of freedom and fireworks, because, our comic is, it's not going to be like a bunch of magic, but there will be like explosions. Again, we said this is before the flood and Pangea and, things with the pyramids and stuff. So there will be some technology. There will be, again, in our first, I don't think have we shown the explosion?
Yeah, we've shown it.
Oh, we did. So you do see
we've
that
shown it.
Have, even though there's swords and shields, there's still explosions and other things going on. So well, actually, not in this comic book, but there definitely will be fireworks down the line. I kind of stole it from Tolkien. He always had Gandalf doing fireworks, but I had the idea of one of the cultures that come together for a particular reason. Their thing is entertainment, and fireworks is one of their big things. They're the only one who knows how to do it. So probably nice. Comic 3 will have some nice little fireworks. You get to illustrate all of that and have fun. I don't know how you, because it's usually more color. So I don't know if you draw it and then the colorist does it, or.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
But it's on you. So have fun.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah, and I don't know. I would say we've got a couple little things to fix and to finish. And then once we do, the book is ready for color. And then I think
we're talking to people. We haven't got but we're talking to a couple people. Seems like we're close to making some handshakes. So.
Yeah, sounds like potentially an explosive finale to the arc. Exactly right. That's exactly right. That's what we're hoping. So, yeah. So anyway, the comic is moving great. We're going to move on. So let's talk about some other stuff now.
Okay. Well, so one thing I did want to talk about, it's so interesting. Me and you were talking about this the other day, with COVID and everything, there's not as much as fireworks. I live in Columbus. Derek lives outside of Columbus. They have a huge celebration called Red, White, and Boom, but it was canceled this year again because of COVID. And, we got into conversation about, how like fireworks in Ohio are illegal here. You'd have to go to Kentucky to get them and, do some stuff you're not supposed to. And we were talking about, like, I brought up to Derek, he didn't know there was an NFL player that blew off his hand with fireworks. Pierre Paul from the New York Giants. If you ever see it, he's got like 2 of his fingers are missing. His whole hand's completely black, like Mr. Deed's foot in that Adam Sandler movie. And then
seems unrealistic to me. It seems so unreal that somebody
look at it. His hand, it is. And he's a big dude. He's like 6'7", 6'8", so he's got a big hand. Like it's and it's just mangled.
I'm not laughing that he blew himself up. I'm just laughing.
No, it's terrible.
I can't believe that there's black.
Because but that's really how it looks. It's like charcoal black. That's
crazy.
But then in Columbus, one of the professional hockey players here just died because a firework exploded near his chest. I don't know if I didn't look at the whole article, but he actually passed away because of a firework explosion. So it's, there's a reason that some things are illegal, and I don't understand these athletes that make money pay someone to do it. Pay someone to hold those fireworks and
yeah, but that's not fun. You know what I mean? That's not fun. it's funner. It's more fun to have some, have the firework in your hand.
Are you
know
serious?
What I
would never hold one of those in my hand.
A lot of people do it.
Not those that go actually up in the air.
Oh no, but people. I mean, I've seen people do some crazy stuff. So I mean, it's just you get and then you get drinking involved in it. Yeah, people are crazy. So that's just the way it goes. Yeah, it's kind of sad. It's sad news. But
yes.
So how did you enjoy your 4th of July this year?
Well, I was going to go to your place, but I was not feeling good, so I didn't end up going.
So you were bored. You were just home.
I was sleeping because my stomach was so messed up. It's just sometimes the pain goes up there where there's nothing else you can do. It's just
right.
But
well, we had a nice time. I mean, baseball. You can't get any more American than baseball. And,
what do you mean? Baseball's almost dead.
Nah, it's still an American pastime. Come on.
10 years from now, people can be like, "What's baseball?" At least Major League, that thing is dying.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but it's still. I don't feel like there's any better way to celebrate than baseball cookouts. Backyards. That's just a great thing. So it felt good. Had a great weekend. It was really hot, but we enjoyed a couple friends over. Yeah. And
93 degrees here.
Not going to complain, man. I've been waiting for the heat. I'm telling you, I think the cold hangs on too long. So anyway.
We didn't have a bad winter.
Yeah.
Honestly, we didn't. Like, it wasn't even that.
No, it wasn't bad. I'm sick of the cold and wet. So anyway.
And so, I wanted to talk about kind of freedom. When it comes to America, like, we've been talking a lot about mythology, and it's interesting, kind of when you grow up, there's almost a mythology to our forefathers, like George Washington. I don't know if it's real or not, because you know how you learn so much in school and then you realize it didn't happen. But in school, we were taught that they called George Washington the ghost because he would have like bullet holes in his jacket and he never got shot. So this might be fake news, but I'm just saying, you do kind of have them as mythology, don't you? The big one. Like,
George Washington, I think so. Maybe a few other people, but yeah, I mean, of course, you think of the founding fathers as heroic. I guess it is a painted picture that we get. It's not all the truth, but it's a painted picture that we get.
Well, I like how like National Treasure movies always did it. I thought that was great how they would look at our history and even how they talk, and the president would talk like people don't talk that way, and Nicolas Cage would be like, well, people do want it, people do want to think that way. And
well, I mean, that stuff becomes legend. I mean, some of the battles that George Washington fought, they're legendary. They really are. So the way he, rushed into battle and things like that, he did some pretty cool stuff.
Have you been to any of them? With me growing in PA, my college was near Valley Forge Park, but Gettysburg.
I've been there, but I was very young, so don't remember half of it. I was young when I went, so I don't remember a lot of it.
Dude, I thought you're gonna hate me. I was gonna be like, Derek, you weren't young during the Civil War. I know.
I already hate you. I'm not going to hate
Revolutionary War. You weren't young. You weren't young at Gettysburg. I mean, come on, you're not that old.
Oh man,
dude, I've been to Gettysburg a couple times because my parents love history, and with Gettysburg, you can actually drive, and they have like you get on a radio station, you can hear all this. But dude, Gettysburg, it's eerie, man. Every time we went there, there's like a fog because so many people died on that land. There's a really like type of like it doesn't feel normal when you're there. There's definitely like kind of like a spiritual thing there. Like you can feel
Well, they say that about the serpent mounds around here too. So when I think about mythological things,
have you been there? I still want to go see.
Yeah. Once again, I was young when I went there, and I want to go back now because I have a new appreciation for that. I wasn't young when it was built. Don't worry, Kevin.
We have no idea when it's built, right?
No.
They think the Native Americans built it, but they don't know for sure, right?
Yeah.
It's a guess, isn't it? There's nothing.
Well, I think they think that, but there's been there have been discoveries around there where they think giants may have been, and then have maybe even held the Indians captive there. And maybe that's how they built it, using the slaves. Shouldn't say that word, but I mean, it's what they did. So
it's not,
right.
There's nothing.
But that's, I mean, that, and you know, what do you?
The prisoners with jobs, Derek, not slaves.
That's right.
Prisoners with jobs. My dad said all heroes get embellished. I don't know. I don't think when people talk about Michael Jordan, it's embellishing when they talk about him and LeBron.
No, I agree.
And he's not. I don't. Yeah, actually, you know what? Sports. I don't think they ever embellish that. Like Muhammad Ali was the greatest, man. When you watch it, or Mike Tyson, you watch those fights.
Yeah, that was mythological. I mean, Mike Tyson was definitely a myth, if you ask me. Very legendary now, you know, because when you talk about it, it's like nobody fought like him anymore. There's nobody fighting like him at all. So we witnessed some pretty awesome things back then. Mo, I've never been to PA, but I have sent some crack pack agents to bring me the crack and the Liberty Bell. Nice. Now I have been there a couple times.
Yeah, Philadelphia's there's a lot of history in Philadelphia. See, that's the thing. Ohio, nothing you know, it's such a younger state.
No.
Compared to Pennsylvania.
A lot happened in Ohio. You just don't know any history.
I got an argument at my one job in Mansfield, how PA had way more history than Ohio.
Well,
and
you got to think about it, though.
Stand up to it. I mean, we had the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Well, hold on.
Nothing like that.
Oh, we're not even.
Talk about a hero.
Listen.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
That's crap. Anyway, you guys are located so close to New York and all the New England states, so of course you're going to be, you know, like settled a little more. Yeah, I mean that's a lot different.
Cool.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
What?
Here we go. Look at this. Look at this.
Well, Jackie Robinson's a hero. I don't know. I think all those baseball players who stopped playing baseball and went to World War II were heroes. Because even their stats, what it would have been if they didn't. I'm going to say I'm going to say he's wrong on that Jackie Robinson is a legend. His movie
I think
great.
It's all subjective because, like, you know, I may look up to a person and think they're a hero.
I'm going to get a duke it out with my dad on this, aren't I?
Yeah, you might. I think that's our duke it out for the night. You know what I mean?
Wait, there has to be some celebrity. I'm trying to think. I know there's stories of sports celebrities doing something heroic.
Well, you know, maybe.
There's some guy from Ohio that was an NFL football player, and he did something. And I can't think of his name.
I don't think your dad's talking about guys who become heroes because of a feat. I think he's saying in general.
I see what you mean. Like Michael Jordan playing amazing basketball.
Right.
He didn't change anything. I mean, Muhammad Ali changed things, and so did Jackie Robinson.
But yeah, Jordan changed things. I
mean, for sports, but I don't think he was like. Does the black community consider him a hero? Did he do anything for the black community?
I mean, they consider him a hero. I mean, he's one of the greatest of all time. So of course they consider him a hero.
Yeah, but I don't think they put him there with like Jackie Robinson or Muhammad.
Yeah, I do. He's, greatest basketball player of all time. It's hard not to put him up there.
Yeah, he definitely.
He doesn't have historical things in his history. You know, he doesn't have like he has a different kind of storied past than the other guys do. But he's like a folk hero because of, you know, what he's done.
Oh, he ruled the world.
Yeah.
Definitely
a folk
countries
hero.
Like.
Yeah.
Stop it.
So anyway, I think that sports celebrities can be heroes, but not all. And I don't call them a hero just because they're a celebrity or something like that. So.
Oh, yeah.
No. I don't know if I want to put this on there.
Go ahead, put it on.
I'm just going to hold it on.
Huh?
Are you sure?
Is Larry Krim?
Here, we're going to get off. I don't know what to say to that, Mo. I don't even know if I know who that is. So really, I can't really.
You don't remember Grandmama?
No.
He was before Tyler Perry.
Oh, really?
You don't remember him being in McDonald's commercials and he'd play basketball as this old lady?
I don't.
That was Larry Johnson's thing.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, he was an all-star player. I mean, he's not like a Hall of Famer, but he was a very good basketball player. But that was it was a weird thing because Michael Jordan became a celebrity, like a bunch of people after him started to do it almost came like wrestling. Like Dikembe Mutombo had the no, and Penny Hardaway had the little Penny Hardaway puppet that Chris Rock would talk.
What about the in my house guy? Who's that guy?
That's Dikembe Mutombo. Not in my house.
No. But then he had not in my house. Yeah.
He had Shaquille O'Neal. He was like Superman, so it was getting back in the NBA. All
right, I'm bored. Sports. Duke it out over whether sports are interesting.
Again, staying with freedom, that's kind of what Comicsgate's all about, isn't it? That the customers were demanding things, and
I don't see our chat demanding that, Kevin. I don't
demanding
see
what?
Demanding. All right, sports. Talking about sports. I just don't see it. I'm trying to be a man of the people. I don't see them demanding sports.
I didn't put that. I don't even know how that happened. I don't. We went to American mythology talking about. I have no idea how we made that transition.
It don't matter. We're just having fun. Who cares? Okay, next topic.
Well, I wanted to talk about Comicsgate because that's a big thing with freedom. For years now, because of the Marvel Universe or the MCU, the Marvel movies, grossing $1 billion for a number of movies, you think comic books would have had a 1990s burst of people wanting to read them, not just because of the movies, so you'd have a whole new audience, but now not only do you have the physical comic books, and of course you can't get comic books like you used to where you go in a drugstore and get them, but to me it's easier now that they're digital. You don't even have to go to a store. You can go and read.
They should be doing an onslaught on Twitter.
No, they should not be doing onslaught.
No,
onslaught was not a good.
Okay, hold on. They should be doing an ad onslaught on Twitter and Facebook because and I've seen this in other people talk about it in other streams. They're like, when the movies come out, instead of drawing kids and people like you and me back into the comic book world, they shoved us away. And that's a lot of what Comicsgate talks about. But I think they're very right. If I had a product out there, like if I was the creator of Marvel, like say Stan Lee again, and he had some say into what Marvel did, why wasn't there a comic book being pushed into everybody's hands? Why wasn't there a link to go read digital comics? Why wasn't there coupons to go buy, so much percentage off a stack of comics at your local comic store? And it just goes to show how much the comic book industry is turning their back on, the mom and pop comic book shops. You know what I mean? They're turning their back on all of it, and they don't care about.
Let's be honest.
The fans.
They didn't turn their back on the comic book stores. Marvel and DC have never been good to them. Here's all these books. If they're terrible, you can't return them. You just take them as a loss. Like from a business, they didn't have any risk. All the risk was on the comic book store owners.
Right, it's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
not to change the subject, but Mo's very right. You jump from George Washington to Mike Tyson effortlessly. It's true.
Because George Washington would knock people out.
That's right.
He was a tough man. George Washington invaded a bunch of Europeans on Christmas because he knew they would be celebrating, and they killed them all.
Oh man.
They're like eating Christmas supper.
So now you've changed subjects and you're gone.
Now we're talking about death on Christmas. We skipped right from 4th of July, went over Thanksgiving, and we're in Christmas where wars are going on.
Oh my gosh. Okay, but
you're right. Like they could have easily, at the end credits of every Marvel movie, like Captain America Winter Soldier, could be like, hey, you can go to your local comic book store or even Barnes & Noble and buy the graphic novel of The Winter Soldier that this movie was based on. And or if you like this, you could read this Captain America or this. Like, and then even worse is they changed all the characters when these movies came out. Iron Man wasn't Tony Stark.
Steve Rogers, and everybody's saying that. We're pretty much rehashing what has been said a lot, and I totally agree with it though, because I'm feeling it really strong now that I've.
Well, I didn't mean to go down a rant. I meant to be more that now freedom came from oppression again.
But
now we got Comics Gate.
But we got these guys, who have I know families. I just talked to a woman today that I work with, and she was telling me that her husband's into the comic stuff. Her kids thought the movies were cool, but they didn't really read comics or anything. And I thought, well, that those movies could have sparked that interest. Those movies could have drawn them into that if they would have pushed them that way. And instead of doing that, they just don't care. They're making enough money that they're like, who cares about the actual comic industry? We're making money now because the comic industry doesn't make enough anyway, And I think that's where everybody feels like it's like turning your back, because the comic industry, it could be more lucrative, but they're not really trying to invest in it to be lucrative. And they know that by printing, it costs too much and it's kind of dying that way. But it just feels like they're just taking this great, and it is, comics are American, They were very much a thing born here in this country and nurtured in this country. Well, pulp, stories and everything. And it got nurtured here and grew into something fantastic and became not only just pop culture, but it shifted, throughout our history in the last 100 years. And it's like,
yeah, you're right. Everyone knows who Superman.
Letting it go. Oh yeah. I mean, they're letting that great American thing go. And it's hard to see a craft like that, people just turn their back on it or not caring about it anymore, And the one thing the woman talked to me about, she goes, do people even get into comic books anymore? And I was like, oh my gosh. Yes, they do. But, it's old guys like me and you.
Well, they could say that it's like a generation thing because now you have TV on your phones and everything, but it's not true because manga? I always forget what it's called. But the Asian comic books are blowing up. They're making huge amounts of money.
Well, and I think there's a lot of reason for that.
Did you ever see the video on Barnes and Nobles and the difference between their section and DC and Marvel? And it makes a lot of sense, the presentation.
Oh, wow. No, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
But I do know that manga's had a cult following for a long time. When I was in school, it was not manga as much as anime. And so we were always watching Akira and a lot of those videos coming out, like eventually Ghost in the Shell and things like that. But, manga didn't interest me that much, reading it backwards and all that stuff. But I get the appeal. I understand. I mean, I'm not against it at all. I feel like it's a really cool thing, too.
I don't like the weird eyes.
Yeah, that's a style thing. I think it influenced a lot of kids. And whenever you had certain cartoons come out,
like Dragon Ball,
it influenced all those. That whole generation got influenced by that stuff. And guess what? The art styles that were coming out in the late 90s to early 2000s were a lot of kids drawing manga style. They weren't drawing like Dale Keown. They weren't drawing like Todd McFarlane. You know what I mean? You had to be a hardcore comic lover to be doing that. If you were just an artist, a lot of those kids were drawing manga style. That was the big influence. So,
you watching the chat? I haven't been watching the chat.
Just Mo.
Just Mo. Hey, it's fine.
Yeah. Because I can't take how they draw faces. Yeah, I mean, and once again,
a little weird.
The long legs, they usually draw like really long legs and a short torso. That's another piece that's not bad to me sometimes. Sometimes it looks cool. Sometimes not as much. It's a little goofy for me. The things that I don't like are how cartoony some of the cool characters can be. Like they'll get over emotional, and they over emote, and that's a hallmark of it, and people really love it. But I'm like, yeah, they kind of took the cool factor away when they did that. You got this Voltron. Oh, you know what I mean? It's like in the same movement. That's what they're doing. I'm like, I can't do it.
I can't believe
somebody had to, Kevin. Somebody had to.
That's on video, and I'm saving that.
Oh yeah.
That's getting played at your funeral. Just telling you that.
So, in my opinion, those kind of things it's cyclical. I mean, that stuff comes around, and comics will come back again shortly and have I think it'll have a renaissance period, and it is. I feel like it is in the independent world right now. We're going through. Everybody's calling it punk rock right now, and I'm like, I agree wholeheartedly. We're saying, screw big industry. We're going to do it our way. We're going to do it the way we want and how we love it, and we're going to show our love and passion, and it's going to go no matter what they say. And
can you hear my cat?
Yeah, it's all right.
Pick her up and everything. She's just so.
But anyway, no, and that's what I love about it too. Being in the music industry, I like being on the edge of that. Of being able to say, we don't need record labels. We don't need big industry to tell us if we can do something.
We just need Spotify. We just need Spotify.
Well, you need platforms, but you don't need big industry. You need people to listen to you. You need word of mouth. You need people to. The reason why rap got so big was because it was word of mouth. Everything. They would make tapes and CDs of each other and pass that out like crazy. They would just pass them out for almost next to nothing, and people would just get that word of mouth going. Well, next thing you know, rap is the biggest thing on the planet. You know what I mean? And it's still big today. It's huge. So when you think about that, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is perfect for that too. Word of mouth comic book became one of the biggest IPs of all time. So
look at Walking Dead.
Well, Image got behind that, but it wasn't word of mouth at first, was it? Was it word of mouth? Is that how it started? I don't know. I really don't know.
It did well in the comics, but once it got the TV show on I think it got the TV show, and then they put it on Netflix the first season, and it blew up on Netflix because it was only 6 episodes. That first season's great.
Oh,
and that's what blew up.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
but here's the problem you have with the big companies owning them, because even AT&T said it. One Batman movie makes more than DC Comics makes in 7 years.
Okay.
So I understand that from a business, you're going to care about the movies more than you do. But to me, money is money.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of, I don't know. Some of it's just, I don't know what to say. I don't know. To me, money's money, but sometimes that money gets put into things that are not that good. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying money's money like comic books don't matter. I'm saying it does matter that they can be making more than they make. It's not that comics are dying. Comics are dying because it's just badly written.
Well, no, I mean, some comics are dying because of that. I think DC and Marvel just aren't putting the effort into it. I think they're letting people run it, and as long as it runs and they're doing something.
To be
honest, I don't think
honest,
they're going to let it totally die, because they know if they do, the IPs die a little bit. But I don't think they'll ever let it fully, go.
But the problem is they're getting these writers who have never wrote anything, and putting them on books. The writers that have been doing it for years, their stuff is awesome. Donny Cates on Venom, is amazing. Jason Aaron on Thor, the main people that haven't went to independent comics, their stuff's real good. The new Thor movie is off Jason. He just finished his 7-year run of Thor. The next Thor is based off of that because it's such a good run.
Right.
So it does show you it's still important. If they can get movies out of something that was written 5 years ago, well,
you know what I mean? And that's what I think they're doing with it. They're using it as a platform to build the movies from. And that's mostly what it is. So,
I mean, the Falcon Winter Soldier show, that was like 2015 when he became Captain America.
Yeah. So Mo says, some never wrote anything and they don't care about the character they're writing. And that's if we're lucky. Sometimes they actively hate the character they're writing. Yeah, I mean, and I agree. I think we've seen that happen to some characters for sure.
Oh, Captain America. I didn't even think of talking about it, but it's perfect for 4th of July. Oh, yeah. They've been attacking him like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we're from like South Dakota or North Dakota. Oh, yeah. Wisconsin.
How many states are you going to not all these states have one accent.
Freedom. Anyway,
brave.
No, but I agree. Captain America to me is getting I don't know. It's like the Superman thing. To me, they don't know how to handle Superman. They hate Superman because he's the great white hope. And so they're going to put out a black Superman in a movie. Well, there are other characters that people are talking about that have similar powers to Superman. And so why not use that character? Well, when they were asked about that, they said, oh, that character will never make it. Why not? It's a superhero with awesome powers, and he happens to be black. Why isn't that representation?
Yeah, look how great Black Panther did. And he was never
big in the... It won't work because the platform isn't there like Superman has. Okay, so they're saying because the fandom isn't there for that character, it will never take off. That's like saying Superman should never have been created then, because you're taking almost 100 years of a character's growth, development, fan base growth, sales, to build Superman into what he is right now, right? It's taken that long for Superman to become the iconic thing that he is. It took work. It took effort. It took a lot of things together to make that character what Superman is right now. And they hated for it, and they don't want to take a simple character that they created themselves and start at the beginning. They want that big platform to deal on, because with the big platform, it puts them out there. But I'm like, why aren't you willing to go with the hard work? You see, look at
Black Panther. Black Panther made $1 billion.
But you know why?
Dude, he was never even the top 15 comic book sales.
Though. It didn't have to be. You know why? Because Black Panther put in work. Black Panther's work started, the 70s was great, and the 80s, but he became a well-loved character over time. You had to put effort in the character. You had to develop him. You had to build that love for that character. And you know what happened? Everybody loves Black Panther. So it's the same story as Superman. You take a character, you build it, and you let it build, and you let it build, and eventually they become iconic, mythological, and excellent characters. And then you've got all the representation you want. You can't just all of a sudden be king of the world because you want a character out there. You know what I mean? And that's what they want. They want to go to the top, and it's like you can't start at the top. You have to start down
Henry Cavill might be back. The Rock, who's supposed to be Black Adam, has said that he wants Henry Cavill in his movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's The Rock. If The Rock wants something,
Cavill's awesome. I mean, he's
what was the first hit movie with a Marvel character? Well, that would be the X-Men in 2000.
When did Blade?
That was an actual hit.
Yeah, but when did Blade? Blade was pretty popular.
Blade was okay, but it wasn't a hit.
You sure?
They've made documentaries. That X-Men movie was why Spider-Man was made. Why all of this? Because actually, that X-Men movie made a comic book resurgence with Marvel Ultimate. The Marvel Ultimate line came out because the X-Men were more brand new and they didn't have all this history. So then they made Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Spider-Man, and you had and honestly, the MCU movies have a lot to do with the Ultimate Universe than the regular
I think Blade, though, might have been a start to get X-Men made because they realized that there's a lot of great characters that they could jump on.
Well, honestly, what happened is Marvel was dying, so they gave out their big hitters to movies.
Oh, yeah. Right, I know that.
And to me, X-Men, I feel like it's one of the harder to do because of all the powers you got to deal with.
Blade was pretty, I mean, to me, everybody loved Wesley Snipes at that time. And he was pretty badass as Blade, man. Let's be honest. He was pretty cool. So, I mean, it was a great IP. It
wasn't a hit though. It was like a horror movie hit, not a. It wasn't breaking any box office.
I think it picked up momentum after it was released. You know what I mean? Like it became more of a cult.
Still, it had
movie.
It's probably one of the lowest.
Maybe.
The popularity of graphic novels, I mean, they were popular in the 80s. Like there was whatchamacallit, that people love from DC, the yellow smiley face.
Watchmen.
Yeah, the Watchmen. Yeah. That was a graphic novel that was huge in the 80s.
Dark Knight Returns. Had a couple.
Huh?
Dark Knight Returns. All that was graphic novel.
Yeah, Killing Joke was a graphic novel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marvel really didn't do the graphic novels. Did they? That was more.
Sorry about my dogs. Can you hear my dogs?
Yeah, I can hear dogs.
Sorry about that.
Hey, my cat's actually just laying there.
Mobe says, compare it to Captain America from 1990.
That was a terrible movie.
Yeah, it really was. I don't think they knew what to do with him at that point. They were trying.
Well, let's talk about the Fantastic Four movie. That thing, you ever seen that? My gosh.
Yeah, and that never really made it. That never made it out very much. They like hide that thing now because it was so crazy. That was a Roger Corman movie, wasn't it? I think.
Honestly, the only comic movies for the longest time that were hits was Superman and Batman. They were the only ones that could.
Well, and Mo's got a point here. Look at Mo's point about Blade, and this is why I think it was semi-hit. It wasn't as big as X-Men, that's for sure, but I think it's what made them realize they could do a little more with their properties. Because they did make 2 crappy sequels. He is correct on that.
Yeah, but it wasn't it's successful like a horror movie. It was a genre movie, not a.
But still, it had some pickup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, I
wouldn't call it a mega hit or anything.
None of these people were like, "Hey, let's make Blake money." They were all like, "Hey, let's make Batman money." That's what they were hoping, and then X-Men made better than Batman money.
Yeah. Right.
So yes, the answer, you're both wrong, Mo and Derek. This is a duke it out. X-Men was by far the first hit movie for Marvel. Not even close.
Oh boy.
If you think otherwise, check your blood level or alcohol level. That's what I'm saying.
What year did Spider-Man come out? First Spider-Man.
2002? 2000?
It was 1 or 2 because it was right after 9/11. The first movie came out right after 9/11.
Oh, then it would have been 2001.
It was 2001 or 2 when it came out because it was soon. And
wait, was September 11, 2000 or 2001?
2001.
It was 2001, so it was 2002. Yeah, I was right. Because X-Men came out 98, 99, or 2000.
Yeah.
It was.
I just remember they had to remove the 2 towers because it was in the promos for the movie.
Yeah,
and they
there
were
was
like,
a helicopter
"Crap, we got to take it out."
Spider-webbed in between the 2 towers. Yeah, I was working at the movie theater when we had it. I remember when they took it away.
Right.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah, it was crazy. But that was later. That was after the X-Men. I would say I know the X-Men were the start, but I'm just saying, like, I think Blade.
That's the answer to the question, sir.
I don't think you can take it away from Blade fully.
Yes, you
can. Because I still think that
clearly when they say Black Panther's the first black-led movie for a superhero, no one remembers Blade. Okay,
if you're going by that,
everyone's
logic,
like, that sounds right. Who's Blade?
I'm tapping out, Kevin. I can't do this with you anymore. I'm done. First off, That's what they said about Wonder Woman. She's the first female hero. Even though we've had Princess Leia and friggin' Terminator 2 with Linda, whatever her name was, and then we had like Aliens with Ripley. I mean, come on, man. They just don't know what the hell they're talking about. So
Wizard of Oz.
Exactly. Dorothy was a hero, wasn't she? And that was way back in the day. So when you take that away, yeah, they're wrong. So, but that's your logic. You can stick to it, Kevin. I think you failed that one.
How did I fail? How did me being right about X-Men fail when you started talking about women?
Because you said, what'd you say? You have to remember what you said.
I said Blade didn't make an impact to where people were like,
he wasn't the first black hero.
The first black male-led movie. Because no one remembers Blade.
Yeah,
no
but
one
he
remembers
was.
it even
but
happened.
he wasn't the first. He was just one of many that they've had, you know?
I mean, he's made the most money. Like Black Panther's freaking
headed
out of the ballpark.
Yeah, you can't take that away. But whenever they say, oh, it's the first black hero, come on.
Boy, I almost wish you could look into other universes. If he didn't pass away, what would have been the Black Panther trilogy? Like what they would have done with his character. Because they always changed them. So he didn't have enough time to really have that much change. It would have been interesting to see where his character would have went.
Right. Yeah, I agree with Moaf. They didn't make as much, so it wasn't as big of a hit. You're right.
Oh, yeah, 25,000? Right. Or is that 2.5 million?
25K. I don't know if that's true. You probably looked it up, so you might be right.
It didn't make 25,000.
I mean, maybe for Marvel, because they weren't the ones that made the movie. So that's their take.
Well, they sold the rights, so I don't know what they made off of it.
Yeah, he said Marvel got a licensing fee. So
I think he meant 25 mil. I think it probably made 25 mil.
No, the 90s? Studio made millions. Marvel didn't make hardly anything because they only got the licensing fee.
So he is saying Marvel only made 25,000.
Yeah, because of licensing.
Did they make it just selling it, or did they make it percentage from the movie?
No, it was just a licensing fee to use their characters. Well, you get remember what time frame this was. The comic industry was tanking. Marvel was bankrupt, and so they were selling themselves to everybody at that time.
They lost all their best talent to Image. DC didn't lose their talent to Image, so Marvel.
Well, that was the early '90s, but the late '90s, this had already happened. Image was already taken off. So
that's true.
Late '90s was the fall of Marvel.
Well, that's why I said don't talk about Onslaught.
Pretty much.
Onslaught did not help Marvel sales.
No, it didn't. But they started whoring out all their characters, and that's really what happened. I mean, they did. They prostituted every IP they could to get themselves back to the top. It worked, but still, it took them a long fight. It
took it to where they made a studio themselves and then sold it to Disney.
Right.
Disney wouldn't have bought Marvel if it wasn't for the MCU.
No,
they didn't care about the comics.
Right.
They once they saw Avengers hit $1 billion, they're like, okay, we're buying that.
Oh yeah, I mean, easy. That was easy money, easy purchase. So, okay. What else you got?
So we went on a little rant.
Hey, I just want to say something. I think in the next couple weeks. I think we're going to try to have some more focused topics on maybe making comics and maybe how.
Are we going to try to have more guests on?
I think we're going to try to have guests. I want to have
other Comicsgate people on here.
Well, I want to have some backers on, some people that would be a backer for people. They're more of a support for people.
Get customer opinion.
Yeah, customer opinions. We're going to talk about that. And I think we're going to talk about, just the quality of art and also artists and just expectations that are put on people, things like that. I want to talk about that stuff. And I think there's some important things to take out of that. So it won't just be Kevin and I ranting and raving and being stupid and silly all the time. And we'll be silly, but we're still going to talk about some really cool things. So keep in mind those things coming up. we're definitely going to talk about it, and hopefully have some people on here that you might recognize. So keep an eye out.
Let's make it known you rant and rave. I sing sonnets. Masterpieces.
Wow. That's called narcissism.
If it was narcissism, I would have said something more intelligent when it comes to like a speech, but I can't think.
So you're saying you're not intelligent. Words. That's even better. So anyway. Okay, so
time, sir.
All right, next subject. What we got here? What we got?
Well, I thought we would talk because now it's just the weeks are going by and by. I wanted to talk about Loki because that's almost ending, and I also wanted to talk because we only got 10 minutes. I wanted to talk about 10 Rings with your boy. You saw the new trailer, right?
I did not see the new one.
You didn't see the new one?
Well, I saw the last one. When did that come out? Last week, I think.
Oh, then you did see that.
Yeah, I saw it.
So you saw who was in the trailer, right?
Yes.
That's a big thing for you, isn't it?
No.
I thought you loved that evil character.
I mean, I like him, but I don't think it's not like one of my favorites.
Maybe it's Brent.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great character. It's a great character.
Well, and they got him comic accurate. Like they did stuff to his ears and everything. Like
yeah, he's gone through an evolution since we still, first saw him, which is really cool.
Well, it's smart. He just became it in the first Hulk movie, so it would make sense that he would evolve.
Yeah, in the movie, you remember his bones kept moving and expanded and changing, and it like his spine kept growing in it and everything. So it does make sense that they would do that in the trailer. So we're talking about the Abomination, by the way, in the new Shang-Chi trailer. And
so if we don't have much to talk about that, we can talk about Loki. People have been dogging that show, and I think it's great. I told you it had a Matrix Blade Runner vibe with the music, and then so spoilers. If you haven't seen it, they've showed 4 of 6 episodes. So spoiler warning. We're talking about episode 1 to 4 here, but people have been like, especially the YouTube people, like been like, it's boring, it's not fun, huh?
Oh, they think it's boring.
Well, yeah, and people were being like, oh, everything's predetermination, like no one has free will. And they're like, so all the 20 Marvel movies that connected, none of the characters had choice. It's how it had to happen. And they're like, oh, this is terrible. And I'm like, no.
I have something to say about that, though. I have something to say about that. I actually think I think that whoever's behind all this, the villain, okay, I think there's a reason.
We just got shown the villains who we thought they're not the real villains, which is classic Matrix. I told you it had a Matrix Blade Runner feel. That music.
Okay, but hold on. But what I'm saying about it,
I love it. I love it.
I think what they're doing is on purpose. So whenever people jump the gun and say, "Oh yeah, everything's predetermination," I don't believe that's true. I think it is if you know what that villain's been doing. But if they play that right, that'll make that villain even better because
here I'll say 2 things.
Far-reaching powers across several movies.
I want to say 2 things about that,
which is actually pretty cool.
One, Loki, the show starting because of him shows things aren't predetermined because that means there's no free will. So he wouldn't have done that. So you should have picked up that it was a lie from the start because that organization wouldn't exist. There wouldn't be variants, if that's what they call it. But 2, just because you know the future doesn't mean it's predetermined. For example, you can go on YouTube and I can know who's going to win the Mike Tyson fight. That doesn't mean Mike Tyson didn't have free will because I'm watching the YouTube and I know he's going to win.
Well, everybody thought Buster Douglas was going to lose that fight, but that is not what happened.
For instance, I can watch last year's Super Bowl when Tom Brady won. It didn't mean that I can see it, that he didn't have choice on throwing his passes. So these agencies can see outside of that world. That doesn't mean things are predetermined because you can watch something.
Right.
That's a theological debate.
I feel like feel like people are wanting this new phase of Marvel movies to fail because they think, well, they've made it to Infinity War and Endgame. They can't do any better, so we're just going to write off what comes after that because they're getting rid of characters anyway.
I would say
I think that's what's
X2,
happening. I really believe that.
I think Marvel would have a tough time making anything better than Endgame if it wasn't for this little thing called the X-Men, the greatest comic book stories ever created. They have 25 different stories that are better than Endgame. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to make, I'm telling you right now, whatever, today, 7/6/2021, X-Men movie, if it's Phoenix or something, it'll make $2 billion. $2 billion. I'm telling you. Those X-Men Fox movies were terrible, and they made money. Those Wolverine movies were terrible. That's how good the
really
characters
funny?
are.
I so feel like Morpheus in this moment. Notice the green in my eyes. Morpheus. I've got the Matrix in the background. Just focus on that, Kevin. I am so Morpheus because I woke your ass up to how terrible Fox X-Men did to those movies.
Wait, you didn't think, no, you didn't wake me up. I told you I enjoyed them, and then you went on how bad, and I'm like, I'm an X-Men fan. I like bad X-Men.
Whenever we worked together, I would go to your office. I would go to your office. No, you time out. You stop.
Wait. No. Office, bad X-Men is like bad pizza. About how it's still good. It's so good.
I would talk to you, and you would say, "No, oh my gosh, oh, I can't believe you're doing this to me." And then you would go, "You're right." And then you realized how terrible those movies were.
That's not true. Not all of them are terrible. Yes, there are. Oh man, some of the new ones are really bad.
The first X-Men
was X2 is really good. First Class is good. Days of Future Past is really good.
X1 sucks.
It's watchable. It's better than Spider-Man 3.
Still not awesome.
It's better than X-Men 3.
It's not, man.
Dude, I knew 20 minutes into X-Men 3. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be bad. I'm like, oh, what are they doing?
Yeah, it was terrible.
I knew it was bad when they said Cyclops wasn't even going to be in it before they were even starting filming. And the director leaves.
I remember watching them just going, okay. And I just kept going in my mind like, okay, I'll forgive him for that. I'll forgive him for that. I'll forgive him for that. And then it just never ended. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. As much as I want to believe these films are going to be awesome, as I go back through, they're messing up this. They're messing up that. They forgot this.
X2
you don't even know who the hell that is. I mean, they're terrible, dude.
X2 is not a terrible movie, and you know it's not.
At the time, it was not. Now, it's not great. And the continuity-wise, yes, it's terrible.
Well, yeah, continuity. It's like...
So...
Nightcrawler's there, and then he's never seen again, and no one ever talks about him. I guess I don't... One of your biggest characters of all time. That'd be like Thor doesn't show up for the next 5 movies. No one's going to talk about it. It's just...
No, he was in the movies, but he's barely there, and they don't talk to him. He's a background
Nightcrawler's only in one movie. He's not in any of the other movies. No, the newer ones, but that's not the same Nightcrawler. That's a whole new Nightcrawler they did. Actually, he doesn't do anything either. You're right. They have him in Apocalypse. They have him fall asleep during that battle.
Same with Cyclops. It's the same thing. They once they removed Cyclops, he was a kid from that point on, and they just never really addressed him ever again. They just kind of let him be in the background and never had him be up in the forefront ever again. And they were like, well, it's all about Mystique. I'm like, how is an X-Men movie all about Mystique?
Mystique, Professor X, and Magneto.
It was weird. It was the weirdest shit. And
well, she became huge. Terrible. They got her when she wasn't that big of an actress. So for First Class,
they made a big character. They made a big character out of her, which would have been cool if she would have been made big alongside of the other great characters.
Oh, sure. And again, Mystique is a big character.
Sure.
But not for an X-Men movie. Like, if you want to make her the main bad guy, yeah, that works. But not being bigger than Storm and Cyclops that are next door. That's just ridiculous.
So I think we've lost our chat. We've got some people watching, but we've lost.
Probably. It's 9 o'clock, so we've reached an hour.
Well, I mean, the fun part of this was I woke you up from the Matrix to believe that, to know the reality of the terribleness of
That's
Fox
not true.
movies.
You didn't wake me up. This is lies.
I remember you were like a little newborn baby.
No, that's not
Your
true.
skin was all messed up. You had all those things coming out of your body. It was disgusting. I had to really fix you up.
What are you talking about?
It's true.
You sure you're okay? Today you were saying you were at Gettysburg. You said you were the drummer boy at Gettysburg.
There. Yeah.
You were the little kid with the drum.
Do you ever think
those kids might have got shot? Like in any war, you always have like really scumbags that are there, just want to kill people.
Oh yeah.
You think those drummer kids just ever got shot by one of those like evil people?
Hey, that'd be a great comic scene. We ought to draw that and write it out.
We could do it.
I saw your wheels turning like, how can we do that? So
it's a great way to make a villain. So my son was the drummer. He wasn't supposed to be killed.
Okay. Here's the just released Crack Pack Cares PSA. I think Mo's saying, here's the link. Oh, sorry, I shared that link. But he's putting it in there for everybody to watch. I'm going to go out there and see if I can share it. You want to see it on our channel?
Can you play the volume, or do you not know how to do that?
Yeah, I can do it. I have to get it up to share it.
Share or share?
Share.
You said share.
You just have to give me a minute. Let me see if this opens it.
Well, so they were all wrong about Loki. We don't know how Loki episode 4 ended. I thought they killed him, which that was great. And that means Owen Wilson's character isn't dead. So, interesting.
Okay, so if you haven't seen this yet, if you're part of Comicsgate and you haven't seen this yet, this is the Crack Pack's response to Michael Bancroft.
Should we tell them about what they're responding to?
Well, Bancroft disavowed the Crack Pack and let him know that crack is bad, of course. And the Crack Pack is now coming back and giving their PSA of please disavow. Bancroft needs to disavow. So here we go. Can you see it?
Yep.
Can you hear it?
PSA spelled, Michael.
It's echoing.
Allegedly.
That's the video.
Yep.
Oh, it's supposed to.
Thanks, Mel, for the sandwich. It was delicious. Hello, Bancroft. You're probably wondering why I'm in your studio right now. And I'll tell you, myself and the rest of the Crack Pack community is concerned for your well-being. We've noticed lately that you're constantly late to your show, as you can see below. Just look at those comments. Disgusting. Now, if you were like myself or one of our other esteemed colleagues from the Crack Pack, think about the crack. You wouldn't have these problems. Your wife's concerned. Your kids are concerned. And look at it. You're always angry. Just look at that. It's disgusting. You're always making fun of Rob.
I'm the same. We've been treating everybody different.
Okay. I'll shut it down in a minute.
Trashing B-Rose. Well, I'll give you that one. But you're always looking down at those who have an appetite for crack. If you want to be great, which I believe you can, but you become a little bit more translucent. If you only smoke the crack. Join the Crack Pack, Mike. Join the Crack Pack. You're probably thinking to yourself, what can I gain from joining the Crack Pack? Some fucking self-respect, Michael. That's what you'll gain. Some fucking self-respect. You've sunk so low to do shows about fucking Star Trek. Nobody cares. Now, before I leave, I just want to tell you, Michael, we all love you. Just do the crack, Michael.
Think about your wife. Just do the crack.
Here's what should come on home, dude. I'm scared, man.
We're scared for you, Michael.
We're scared for you.
We're scared for you, Michael. Very, very scared. We're scared for you, Michael. Jesus Christ, we're so scared. I'm so
Remember, Michael, avow the
Avow the
vow
vow.
or be disavowed.
Crack, crack. Crack, crack. Crack, crack. Think about the crack.
Man, we crack back, baby, no carrots. Y'all know what time it is. Time to get cracking.
Okay, I'm better now. It's okay. Jesus Christ, I thought I was. I can't do it. Just this time. No. I can't do it this time. Oh, God.
Oh, I am muted. Oh, I'm sorry, everybody. Hey, thanks, Jim, for telling me that. So the Crack Pack makes a stand. Bancroft is going to make, I'm sure, some kind of response coming up. We'll see how he responds on his next show. Murph had to leave. He had a technical difficulty. His internet went down, so he was calling me in the video, and so I'm sorry. Mo, yeah, it's like the video left me speechless. What can I say? I was speechless when I was included in this a little bit. I got, they shared it with me and said, hey, make this go viral. So I was like, oh my gosh. And it was really funny. I can't wait to see Michael's response. And hopefully he'll have a change of heart. Let's just be honest. So glad for you to join us, Jim Cox. I think it's great for you to be here. And Mo, Amanda, we've had some different people. Joseph Murphy show up. Thank you guys for showing up. I actually am going to try to send a message to you, Jim, just so you know. And then, so look for that DM. I'm going to send you one here on Twitter, and possibly you too, Mo. If I could, if you're on Twitter, I'm not sure if you are, but if you are, that'd be great. Let me know, and I'll send you a message too. Want to talk to you guys about some things coming up about a possible future show, so we'll talk about that. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I know we were all over the place today, but freedom, fireworks, what can you do? It's the best thing ever. America's 4th of July. Everybody, I'll see you next week. And talk to you soon.